When a perfect life masks a dangerous secret. My name is Anna. I'm 32 years old, living in one of those perfectly manicured suburban towns outside the city. You know the type: quiet streets, good schools, lawns mowed on Saturdays, everyone smiling and waving while holding secrets behind their eyes, like precious, volatile things. My secret? It's volatile, all right. It's explosive. I'm married. To a good man, really. Mark. We've been together 10 years, married for 7. We have a comfortable life. A nice house, 2 incomes, dinner parties with friends, Sunday morning croissants. It's stable, predictable, safe. And maybe that's the problem. Or maybe I am. Our life together had settled into a quiet rhythm. Comfortable. Too comfortable, perhaps. The spark, the frantic, breathless need that consumed us in the beginning, had faded into a warm, steady glow. Companionable. Affectionate. But the fire? It was banked low, embers barely visible beneath the ash. Sex had become routine. A Tuesday night ritual, sometimes a Saturday if we weren't too tired. Predictable movements, familiar touches, a quiet completion. Loving, yes, but it didn't shake me. It didn't make me feel seen or desired in that primal, urgent way. Then there's David, my boss. He's 45, sharp, driven, with eyes that seem to bore right through the polite work facade to something deeper. He took over the department 6 months ago, sweeping in with his tailored suits, easy confidence, and a way of commanding a room without raising his voice. He's not classically handsome, not like the movie stars, but there's a raw intelligence, a crackling energy around him that's magnetic. He noticed things. My ideas in meetings, the small details I added to reports. He'd catch my eye across the conference table, a slow, knowing smile playing on his lips, and a strange heat would coil low in my belly. It started subtly. Working late together on a big project, ordering takeout, sharing wine from plastic cups because we were stuck. The conversation flowed easily. He asked about me, not just about work deliverables. He listened. Really listened. He made me laugh, a genuine, full-bodied laugh that I hadn't realized was missing from my life. The office, usually a place of fluorescent lights and muted productivity, started to feel charged, alive whenever he was near. The first time I felt the shift, the undeniable pull, was during a late-night brainstorming session. Just the two of us. It was well past midnight. The city lights twinkled outside the floor-to-ceiling windows. We were slumped in chairs, tired but buzzing with ideas. He leaned forward, picking up a stray pen from the table, and our fingers brushed. It was just a fleeting touch, accidental, but it sent a jolt through me. His skin felt warm, slightly rough. He didn't pull away immediately. His eyes met mine, and the usual professional mask slipped. There was something intense, unguarded, hungry in his gaze. My breath hitched. The air in the room suddenly felt thick, heavy, with unspoken things. I pulled my hand away, heart hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. From then on, the tension was a constant, humming presence between us. Lingering glances, hands brushing, accidentally, in the break room, casual compliments that felt loaded with double meaning. Every interaction was laced with a thrilling sort of danger, a tightrope walk over an abyss of desire. I knew, deep down, where this was heading. And the terrifying part? I wasn't stopping it. A part of me, a part one barely recognized, was actively pouring fuel on the fire. Dressing a little nicer for work, catching his reflection when I thought he wasn't looking, staying late more often. The night it happened, it feels both like a blur and vividly etched into my memory. Every sensation, every forbidden thrill. We were supposedly celebrating, the successful completion of the project. The team went for drinks, but everyone else trickled away, until it was just David and me at the bar downstairs from the office. The alcohol loosened my inhibitions, melted away the layers of denial I'd carefully constructed. We talked, leaning close, his voice a low murmur against the bar's background noise. His knee brushed mine under the counter, and this time, neither of us moved. A slow electric current started to build, spreading upwards from my thigh. He looked at me then, really looked at me, his eyes dark and intense. "Anna," he said, his voice slightly rough. This is becoming difficult." My response was barely a whisper. "I know." He didn't say anything else. He just stood up, pulled out a crumpled hotel keycard from his pocket, presumably from another work trip, or perhaps planned, and held it out to me. My hand trembled as I reached for it. It felt transactional, bold, terrifyingly explicit. No words needed. The silent question hung in the air. "Are you going to do this?" My mind screamed. "No!" My body, however, was already halfway there. It was thrumming, aching with a need that had been dormant for too long. The comfortable, predictable routine with Mark felt a million miles away, a different life entirely. This felt raw, dangerous, real. I took the key. Walking into that hotel room felt like stepping into another dimension. It was anonymous, impersonal, and yet charged with an illicit energy that crackled in the air. He closed the door softly behind us, and the click echoed in the sudden silence, sealing us in our bubble of transgression. We didn't speak. There was no need for small talk, no awkward pleasantries. The build-up, the simmering tension of the past few weeks, had brought us to this point. It was a silent acknowledgement of the desire that had been building, thick and heavy between us. He walked towards me slowly, his gaze never leaving mine. I could feel my heart pounding, a frantic drumbeat against my ribs. My palms were suddenly damp. He stopped right in front of me, not touching, just standing there, his presence overwhelming. I could smell his cologne, faint and sophisticated, and the subtle, warm scent of his skin. He reached out, his fingers gently tracing the line of my jaw, then down my neck. A shiver ran through me. "Anna," he murmured again, his voice low, husky. "Are we doing this?" I couldn't speak. I just nodded, a tiny, almost imperceptible movement. His eyes darkened. He leaned down slowly, deliberately, giving me every chance to pull away. His lips met mine. It wasn't a gentle kiss. It was starved, urgent, demanding. His mouth was hot, firm, pressing against mine, his tongue immediately seeking entry, tasting of wine and something undeniably male. I responded instantly, fiercely, my own lips parting, my tongue meeting his. It was a desperate, feverish kiss, erasing everything but the here and now. His hand slid down my back, pulling me flush against him. I could feel the hard lines of his body through our clothes, the heat radiating from him. My body arched into his, craving that contact. My fingers fumbled with his tie, pulling it loose, my need overriding any sense of decorum. He groaned softly into my mouth. We stumbled backward towards the bed, shedding clothes as we went. My dress was pulled up, his shirt unbuttoned. His hands were everywhere, urgent and exploring. He cupped my breasts through the silk of my slip, his thumbs circling my nipples. They were already tight, aching nubs, exquisitely sensitive. I moaned softly, leaning my head back. He knelt in front of me, his eyes locked on mine as he slowly, deliberately, ran his hands up my legs. He hooked his fingers under the hem of my slip, pushing it up, higher and higher. I stood there, trembling, my thighs slick with anticipation, completely exposed to his gaze. The mixture of shame and intense arousal was intoxicating. He reached the waistband of my panties, hooking his thumbs into the delicate lace edge. He paused, his eyes asking again. I answered by lifting my hips slightly. He pulled them down, slowly, agonizingly slowly, until they pooled around my ankles. He didn't look away from my face for a second, watching my expression, reading the raw need there. His fingers were warm as they finally touched my skin, tracing the curve of my hip, then moving inward, towards the source of the ache. He found me quickly, already slick and ready, practically begging for his touch. He stroked me, slowly at first, then with more confidence, finding the rhythm that made my breath catch in my throat. I whimpered, swaying slightly. It felt incredible, the forbidden nature of it amplifying every sensation tenfold. He leaned closer, kissing the inside of my thigh, his breath hot against my skin. He stood up then, his own clothes discarded in haste. Seeing him, built solid and powerful, the desire coiled tighter in my gut. He reached for me again, his hands framing my face, making me look at him. "You are so beautiful," he whispered, his voice thick with lust. He lifted me into his arms, and I wrapped my legs around his waist instinctively. He carried me to the bed, laying me down gently, then following me down, his weight pressing me into the mattress. His body settled between my thighs, fitting perfectly. The friction of his skin against mine sent shivers of delight through me. He kissed me again, the kiss deepening, becoming more demanding. His hips moved against mine, a promise of what was to come. I was arching into him, desperate for more, whispering his name against his lips. He moved down my body, trailing kisses along my neck, shoulder, down to my breasts. He took a nipple into his mouth, suckling gently, then harder, making me cry out softly. His hand found its way back between my legs, parting me, his fingers finding the most sensitive spot. He stroked and teased, bringing me closer and closer to the edge, while his mouth worked magic on my breasts. The dual sensations were almost too much to bear. My body was convulsing softly on the verge of shattering. "Please," I gasped, my voice thick with need. "Now." He looked up, his eyes dark with mutual desire. He positioned himself between my legs, his erection hard and heavy against my slick entrance. He didn't wait. There was no gentle entry. It was a deep, forceful plunge, filling me completely with a single powerful thrust. I cried out, a mixture of pain and ecstasy. He was deep inside me, deeper than I had felt in years. He paused for a moment, letting me adjust, his breath ragged against my ear. Then he began to move, slowly at first, deep, powerful strokes that rocked me to my core. I wrapped my legs tighter around his waist, pulling him closer, wanting every inch of him. The rhythm intensified, becoming faster, more urgent. He held my hips in his strong hands, lifting me to meet his thrusts, controlling the pace, driving me higher and higher. My body responded, with a fierce intensity I hadn't known I possessed. I met his every thrust, arching my back, digging my nails into his shoulders. Soft moans escaped my lips, mingling with his guttural groans. The bed creaked with the force of our movements. The air was thick with the scent of sex and sweat. I was lost in the pure animalistic pleasure of it, the forbidden thrill adding an unparalleled edge to the physical sensation. My mind emptied of everything but the feel of him inside me, the power of his body, the exquisite friction, the building pressure. I could feel the orgasm building swiftly, a tidal wave rising within me. It started as a tight knot in my core, spreading outwards, consuming every nerve ending. I gasped his name, my body stiffening, trembling. He leaned down, kissing me deeply, as the wave broke over me, a shattering, pulsating release that left me breathless and weak. My body convulsed around him, squeezing, pulling. He groaned, a deep, ragged sound, his movements becoming more urgent, finally finding his own release inside me, a hot, pulsing wave that matched mine. We lay tangled together, our breathing heavy, the silence in the room now filled with the fading echoes of our passion. His weight was comforting, heavy, real. The guilt hadn't hit yet. Not fully. In that moment, there was only the aftermath of raw, physical connection, the lingering tremors in my body, the pounding of my heart. That first time wasn't the last. Not by a long shot. It opened a door, a Pandora's box of desire and transgression that I haven't been able to close. We've met in that hotel room, or others, several times since. Each time, the initial thrill is mixed with a growing, gnawing guilt, but the physical pull, the sheer intensity of being with him, overrides it. He makes me feel things I haven't felt in years. Desired, yes, but also powerful in my own right, capable of eliciting such raw passion. He explores my body with a focus and intensity that feels both thrilling and deeply intimate, even within the context of what it is an affair. He knows how to touch me, how to make me ache and plead, how to push me to the edge and over it, unapologetically. My body has learned to anticipate his touch, his scent, the way he looks at me, and responds with a readiness that is both exhilarating and terrifying. So here I am, sitting in my perfectly quiet house, in my perfectly comfortable life, with my perfectly good husband, pouring this out. The secret is heavy, it's exhilarating, it's consuming. I don't know how long I can carry it, or where this path leads. To confession? To exposure? To ruin? I don't know. All I know is that in the quiet moments, when my husband is asleep beside me, or when I'm just alone with my thoughts, my body remembers. It remembers the heat, the urgency, the raw, unapologetic pleasure. It remembers David's touch, his weight, the way I felt completely possessed, completely alive in those stolen moments. And sometimes, even now, just writing this down, feeling the echoes of that forbidden fire, it makes me feel warm and wet all over again.